able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is officially the Craig Jones Invitational Day 1. It is finally here. Yes, hopefully nobody else gets to drop out. Everybody else is healthy. Your boy here, Raf Esparza, is healthy, and so is my longtime friend and co-host, Tim Freeman.
The day has finally arrived. It's been 1 year since CJI1 made its inaugural debut, and here we are for CJI2. I'm so stoked. In honor of the new main event, I'm putting my chails on right now.
Oh.
All right. What do you think?
That's the kind of gear that I saw dads wearing in the 80s, which is back right now. So appreciate that. You know what? It elevates because you got the suit jacket and the chails on. So you have upscaled heavily, sir. Let's ask this. Why are we excited about this? Because it's not the same show. It's a little bit different. Instead of going for 2 separate $1 million prizes, this time we have a quintet format. What makes this one, aside from that, all the more unique or special, Tim?
You know, I think it is that. I think it's the fact that these teams are coming together, and I know there's some misfit teams, but many of these teams are actual jiu-jitsu teams. They've trained together. They work together. They're in the same areas. They represent each other when they go out on the stage, and we're going to have these teams as the center format for the Craig Jones Invitational. This might be the crowning of the best team in 2025, the best jiu-jitsu team. I don't know. Have we ever even figured that out yet? This might be it. I think that's what makes this event so special.
Well, just don't ask Heath about it because he has feelings about teams being real, and it is what it is, in his words. So he has basically come out and said, yeah, we could crown the best team in the world, but really the only major teams are his team and 10th Planet, and everybody else is maybe a little bit of a makeshift. And if we're being honest, most of B team is the real team, with the appearance of a adopted older brother that's pretty big. You know what's so wild that we do in our sport that they don't do anywhere else? Is like they're not a real team. Are the Yankees a real team?
Yeah.
No, they go out and they buy the best talent possible. Yeah. Ask Jerry Jones if the Cowboys are a team right now. He doesn't even know what his team is. So when we're talking about people being on the same team, it means for this event, this is who they are. We build it within our own world of jiu-jitsu that says, nope, holier than thou. They must train together. And while that would be cool, you wouldn't get the best of the best or the most exciting grapplers. So for this one day, let's just take ourselves outside of our teams and maybe build a different event. An opportunity if somebody wants to take it up. Because remember, Craig did this on a dare. So if somebody really wants to best this idea, get $3 million of somebody else's money and put on your own best team in the world competition for realsies, and then do a valid check, do an attendance check, see how many times they've checked in together, go through their Foursquare app from way long ago, check in their MySpace check-ins, their Facebook check-ins, do whatever you need to do. But what I'm telling you is, this is what we got. But Tim, what does it feel like right now for us? Because we are the unofficial show that is leading into the Craig Jones Invitational. So why do people need to stay with us and not go anywhere else?
If you watch the company line, you're going to get the company bull. You're already used to that. You know what that tastes like. What you want is insight from industry veterans, guys that have been boots on the ground for 15 years, doing these events, talking to these athletes in and out. We've seen the whole evolution of this game, even pre-Metamoris. We're grappling X. All that stuff was going down. You and I were two of the biggest jiu-jitsu dork nerds in the nation that were sacrificing our free time to go cover these events, and we never stopped. We're here again. You're going to get insight. You're going to get truth, and you're going to get humor, and you're going to get a little sarcasm, and I might bite a little bit, but I promise the juice is worth the squeeze.
Ooh, let me tell you what we can promise you that we know for sure exists on the other show. Ooh, look, it's a crane shot. Ooh, look, it's the behind the scenes. You can see the mats. Wow, what an amazing shot that they have that they spent a lot of money on. With us, you get our bullshit offices. Look at this. That's where I live. That's where Tim lives. We didn't waste your money that you spent to us on a crane shot. So why don't we now get to the best analysis you can have from guys who weren't invited to the big show and give you the preview show that you deserve. Tim, we talked a little bit about this maybe a second ago, but I want to ask you, how does Craig Jones Invitational make itself a presence this year when not defined by ADCC?
I'm not exactly certain if they can pull it off. And last year, because there was so much buzz and energy and animosity, I would say, that was kind of fueling that, it just attracted everybody. The drama, it's like everybody wants to see what's going to happen at CJI. And one of the things that you and I talked about post CJI was, how do you keep this thing going? Because you can't keep it going based on your hatred for one dude or your beef with one guy. Like, that beef gets old and stale, and everybody gets tired from eating from that plate, right? So you got to get something new. And instead of making a new enemy, which Craig kind of did a little bit, right? He kind of just took a shotgun out and see who he hits. He really put into bringing these teams together. I like that there is a women's division. I think that is going to help it quite a bit. I would actually like to see more girls involved, but I really think that's what it is. Obviously, they piggyback off of Jiu Jitsu Con being in the Las Vegas area the same weekend as that lets out. CJI starts up. So if you're out there, why wouldn't you go to CJI? You love jiu-jitsu. You're at the biggest dork convention in the world, which is Jiu Jitsu Con. Hey, I was at the very first one. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but why wouldn't you go to CJI? You're there. This is going to be a great event, but can they execute? And that's the question, because last year they had a lot of buzz, man. They were going to give $2 million away. Craig was going to fight Gabby, and they were going to give the Miata away. And as far as I can tell, Raf, they haven't found their Miata yet. They need their Miata moment. That's what I'm trying to catch.
The Miata moment sounds like the new fan cam that they're going to put Craig and Gabby on at the middle of the night, who are married? ? It's hard to say. There's a lot of social media stuff that happens. Can I just say this? Everybody at CJI, this is a big opportunity. Make yourselves the premier grappling event. I have heard some people in comment sections saying, I don't think it's got the same buzz as it does last year. Probably because it was the new thing last year. And yes, now UFC BJJ has gotten viewers, allegedly bots, but Craig Jones Invitational is still the premier event. So I think you just have to go into it with the confidence. This is your time. If you're one of the athletes lucky enough to be on here, that's an amazing accomplishment into itself. So really make the use out of that time, but recognize this. Maybe you don't get called by other organizations. Take that out and show us a spectacle. If we can keep CJI a spectacle, it will be sustainable. There was some talk in a debate that's not really a debate about whether this is a success or not. It is, because we're all invested in it. And more importantly, it's putting back on quintet, something that Craig Jones fell in love with, and that I feel is one of the best narrative-based forms of competition in jiu-jitsu. And though people wanted the big tournament, that would be nice. But that doesn't mean this won't be intriguing. And I can guarantee you this, it's something the UFC really isn't interested in doing. So it's actually a pretty smart play now that the UFC has been coming in for what was their Fight Pass Invitational and now UFC BJJ events. Make this unique. Stick the landing. We do believe in you, mostly, except you're not organizationally well put together, but we still are rooting for you nonetheless. And let's get down to it. Tim, we have some matchups that we have to get straight into. We have 8 teams, and each team gets the opportunity to make their own list order. Their coaches, their head coaches decide the order. Now, the other team doesn't necessarily know the order that the other team is going to go in. So this is the most critical aspect of strategy. And we thought, as a way of previewing this, we would give you our list of who we would send in, and we would do them match by match. So for the very first match setup, we have Team New Wave versus the Misfits Gorillas, aka Misfits America, which I still don't quite understand the 3 different names we're giving teams, but I digress. Yeah. On Team New Wave, you've got Dorian, Mika, Wagner, Luke, Giancarlo. On Misfits, you've got Pat Downey, Corbe, Dose, Dorsey, and Tyler Pierman. So, Tim, what is your order you would put them in as if you were a coach?
New Wave Jiu-Jitsu. Here we go. I'm leading off with Wagner because he's tough to beat, and I want to get him out there up front, get in people's heads. I'm following up with Dorian Olivares because you're not going to beat that kid. He's only got 1 loss, accomplished like crazy. This guy's going to be a star if he's not already in people's minds. Mika Galval is going to follow him because if you get past Dorian, you ain't getting past Mika. And then look, I'm going to rest big Luke Griffith and Giancarlo. They're not even going to have to get into the match because Dorian and Mika are they're going to smoke through it. And I'm going to save those guys for the second round. Don't get mad at me, Misfits. I'm just making my prognostications. Okay. On the Gorillas, I'm leading off with Pat Downey. I'm throwing him out there up front, getting the big man involved. I don't want him sitting and thinking about it too much. Get him out there. And then we're going Corbe. And Corbe's got to follow each other because, listen, killer bees. Switch one in between rounds. One takes a sec. The other comes in. They keep playing this game. Nobody knows what's going on. After that, we follow up with Elijah Dorsey, who is a super tough matchup. And then we fire in there with Pearman, who's got a crazy leg lock game with some really odd, eccentric entries. You got to face him last. Good luck.
Here's what I'm doing if I'm Team New Wave. I'm starting with Mika. You want to start with some star power right up top, somebody who's got gas in the tank and who can go up on different divisions. Then I'm going Dorian because guess what? One Tasmanian Devil deserves a second to go up there. Afterwards, I'm going Luke. After Luke, I'm going Wagner. And batting cleanup, Giancarlo. Now, that's normally a spot you designate for somebody that is your heavier hitter. I think Giancarlo is a perfect weight that can become a stopper or somebody with the ADCC experience of winning at the big stages who can pull through. For the Misfits Gorillas, a.k.a. America, a.k.a. America Misfits, here's what I'm doing. Tim and I agree. You start with Pat Downey because, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't work, so what? But the reason I put Pat up first, pace. Start with some pace. Get him out there, establish it. If he's successful, he can likely be a stopper. And if they went 1-1 on my exact lists, it would be him versus Mika, which is a tall order, but put that pressure on him soon and see if he is able to get any kind of major stoppage. 2, I go Corbe, but I don't designate who. Take that. Be like, who's supposed to go out there? I said Corbe. Yeah, but there's 2. Twin magic. Look it up. After that, you then go Elijah Dorsey, somebody who's been to the dance, 480cc. He knows what it's like to be under pressure as well. Also an IBJJF competitor at the highest regard. Then after that, you go Pierman. And then after him, you clean up with the other Corbe at your discretion. So that's how I would play it if I was going down that way. And I have to tell you, this is a tall order for Team Americas because Team New Wave is definitely one of the favorites, and there's a reason why they're on one side and Team B team is on the other side. Why don't we move now to our next matchup? The Raiders, the CJI Misfits from Europe versus Team Atos. We got some interesting names. Jaworski, Negromonte, Jones, Marcin, and Ardilla versus Pena, Pato, Duarte, Junior, and Barbosa. Tim, where do you go on this?
For the Misfits, I am jumping right out of the gate with Jaworski. I'm going to throw him out there up front and see who Atos puts against me. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow up with Owen Jones. I want to have 2 distinct style ups back to back. I think that would maybe give a little mix up if you have trouble in the first match. And then we're going to follow up with Neromonte. And then we're going to get to Marcin. And Marcin is a beast, as we both know. And if you get through Marcin, you got to fight Ardilla. Now, here's why Ardilla's last. We need him analyzing all the matches going before it, trying to find us a legal loophole to make sure that we walk away with the win. So we need to use him to watch and watch and watch. And then if he's got to fight, we're going to throw him in there. He's going to get the sub for us. So that's my Misfits. Team Atos. What a team here, man. I would throw Hinaldo Jr. out there up front. He's dynamic. He's stylish. He's going to get the energy going. The crowd's going to be going. He's super, super hard to finish. If you get past him, you're going to have to fight Diego Pato. Good luck, man. This is a guy that took second at ADCC. Tough as nails. Then we'll follow up. Look, you get past Pato. Now we're going to switch it up again. We're going to throw the big guy out, Felipe Pena. Nobody's going to beat that guy. Okay, let's keep going. If somehow you get past Pena, then you got to fight Duarte. And if you somehow get past Duarte, I'm going to throw Lucas Barbosa at you. I seriously don't know how you're going to beat that team. That is a really good team right there.
First of all, if I am looking at Misfits Europe, we are looking at Negromonte starting off the day. But then after him, you need the experience of Paul Ardilla. I like going with an ADCC competitor of his stature because not only does he analyze the game, but Paul can not only get you a submission, but stay as a marathon man. That is a very well-conditioned athlete. We then go to Jones and then Marcin. This is an interesting one for me because I would almost feel like putting him up a little bit earlier in case they get into trouble against some really good competition. Marcin is also somebody you could designate at the 2 spot, but him being here is designed to break legs. And if you could break a couple of the legs of Team Atos, not only is that great, and not only is Team New Wave cheering you on, but you could be the surprise element of the entire story. I want to keep you as a gatekeeper before we got to pull Jaworski as that last spot for our last hope if it does come down to that. So that's Team Europe. Now I'm going to go on over to Team Atos. I'm going to be realistic with you guys. There is no wrong way to play this one. You can literally toss them up in the air and it is a correct answer. But I'm going to tell you why mine is the most correct. Here we go. Start with the big man. Go with Luke Barbosa right up top. Let him know you're not fucking around. Bring him out there, set that tone. Afterwards, you go to Junior. Afterwards, you go to Pato. And if you aren't getting intimidated by each of these guys increasing the pressure on you, don't worry, you've got Duarte next. And at the very end, you have one of our GOATs, one of the all-time greats, Felipe Pena batting cleanup, which allows him to not only be a great coach and resource for the team, but somebody who's reliable enough if you're just down to him, and it really does get down to that. Now, we're going to go ahead and advance to our next set, which is B team versus Team Daisy Fresh. This is going to be a very good showcase. A lot of people are excited about this one coming in. You've got Ethan Krellinston, Joseph Chen, Chris Wojcik, Nicky Rod, Victor Hugo versus Max Hansen, Dante Leon, Jacob Couch, Michael Pixley, and Brandon Reed. Tim, what does your starting lineup look like?
I'm going to throw Victor Hugo out first. I'm going to put the big man up and put him out there and see what you can do against him. And then I'm going to bite you in your ankles with Chris Wojcik. He's going to come up like a snake in the grass and catch one of those Woj locks on you and make you feel stupid. And if you get past him, then I'm going to throw Joseph Chin out there, who's like a wrestling jiu-jitsu magician now. He's turning into David Copperfield. He's like, I'm over here. No, I'm over there. Now I'm over here. Now I'm pressure passing. Now I'm on your back. So we're going to throw Chin out there. Then you're going to fight Ethan Krellenstein. And at the very end, you got to fight the CJI level boss, Nicky Rod. For Daisy Fresh, again, great lineup. I'm throwing Brandon Reed, great wrestler, great jiu-jitsu, right out in the front. He's going to tax your team. You're going to have to get past his aggression, his ability to move forward and tire your dude out. And then we're going to follow up with two guys that are very gritty. Fighting these guys back to back would be terrible. We're going to go Max Hansen, Jacob Couch, and then we're going to save Dante Leon for the number 4 spot, because this is a dude who can back clean up with the best of them, super versatile. And then in the end, the man with the big highlight from ADCC, the people's favorite, Michael Pixley, is going to bat in the 5th spot, just in case you make it his way. He's got an Uchimata on reserve with your name on it.
I'm going to go through mine. I love the passion, though. I love that you hype these guys up as they're getting called up one by one. Like, this is some true coach moments from Coach Tim here. So why don't we start with you, Joseph Chen? You're going to be starting off for us. I think you're a great middle ground, because you can always turn up your great matches. You've trained with the best of the best, and you're a Wunder kid. I want to start you because I think you got energy to go. Afterwards, we go with experience. Ethan Krellinston, one of the all-time best in his division. And I wonder what happens if they got tired out by Joseph Chen and maybe he doesn't get the job done. Don't worry. I think Ethan can do it and pick up the pieces. After that, you go with the master of the Woj law, Chris Woj. You make him start to put the pressure on the other team. And if he snaps an ankle or two, could be a huge problem. And we've seen Chris Wojcik be similar in stature to somebody like a Marcin Held. So Marcin and him both were boogeymen in their seasons of the PGF. Then you go with Nicky Rod. The experience is going to come through. But guess what? You feel like you beat Nicky Rod. You feel like you won. Not so. Victor is going to stop up as a major block for you. And I think Victor could at least take on 2 people, and that's what you want as a stopper there. So it's one of the few times I think you keep your heavy where the heavy needs to be. Other side, Daisy Fresh, Jacob Couch. Start with him. It's good presence. It's not even your best guy, but it is a guy who's gotten major wins in some big formats. After that, go with Pixley. Pixley had arguably one of the best performances against one of New Wave's best. I think you hold him as a surprise number 2 spot. Third, go Brandon Reed. That wrestling's going to come through when they start getting a little bit tired. Are they going to be ready to stand up? Can they pull guard the entire time? And if so, can Brandon put those instructionals to use and get some heavy pressure on Team B team? Then you go to Dante Leon. And if Dante can't get it done, you go with his apprentice and Max Hansen, who's gotten some surprise wins over some notable names. I think you hold him as an X wild card, because even with some of the biggest names, I think Max Hansen can hold his own. But why don't we go ahead and put on who we think is going to win, as well as the order for the Devils, the Australian team versus Team 10th Planet. On this one, Fabricio Andre, Kenta Iwamoto, Lucas Kennard, Bilal Bari, Declan Moody on Team Devils. 10th Planet, Gio Martinez in a retirement performance weekend. Alan Sanchez, PJ Barch, Ryan Aiken, and Kyle Bain.
For the Devils, here we go. I'm leading off with Bilal. This is a former construction engineer. He went from novice to elite level competitor in 4 years. So we're going to throw him out there. There's not going to be a ton of info on him. So we're going to put him out there first. We will follow up with Fabricio Andre. This is a dude who's been winning everything for the last couple of years. We'll put him in there. Declan Moody, just because like in your 3 spot, I know 4th is always like the slugger, but your 3rd hitter's like, he's usually a banger too. And Declan is looking great coming out of Australia. He's cut. He's buffed right now. Like he looks ready. I'm putting my money on him. Then we'll follow up with Lucas Kennard, who I believe he earned an invitation to the ADCC 2024. A little bit of a wild card perhaps in here, but he is on Team Australia and he is Australian. So we're going to throw him out there. And then we got Kenta Iwamoto. We're going to follow up with him because this is a versatile grappler. I think of Kenta a lot in the same way I think of Joseph Chin. It's a dude who's always adding tools to his repertoire, and you can never quite predict exactly what he's going to do. So we're going to finish off with him. Now, we turn to 10th Planet. Let's go, baby. Here's my lineup for 10th Planet. I'm putting Gio Martinez out. He's up front. Super hard to submit. Not an easy guy to get around. Has a very unique game. Super, super duper hard to deal with his guard. We're going to put him out up front. If you're lucky enough to get past him, you're going to have to step up to the plate with PJ Barch. This is a dude who arguably got robbed at ADCC and could have been the gold medalist at ADCC. You're going to have to get past him. He's got experience. He's a great wrestler. And with that pit wall, you're going down. We're going to follow up PJ Barch with Kyle Bain, another athlete who has competed maybe in more formats actively right now than anybody else has. This is a guy who's done everything, very versatile. We'll throw him out there, and he's super big and strong, man. This guy is a multi-sport athlete, very difficult to deal with. Now I'm going to throw the wild card at you, and that's Alan Sanchez. This is a guy who has arguably the most pure 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu game in the 10th Planet system. So we're going to throw him in the 4 spot and see how you deal with that unique game. And then we're going to follow up with a big dude who you could probably put up front and just have him wipe all 5 dudes out. No disrespect to anybody, but Ryan Aiken is going to come in, bat 5th, and slam the door closed if need be.
My team for Team Australia, I think you start right up top with Lucas Kennard. I think he's got good experience. I think he's a great show pony to start up the day. Then 2, guess what? Surprise. It's Fabricio Andre, who looks amazing right now. I think Fabricio could have an incredible tournament. He is a huge problem. You want to create a huge problem right up top so that you make your team nervous on the other side. 3rd, I'm going Bilal. After that, I'm going Kenta. Kenta is somebody who is a little crafty and could be problematic for a number of different sizes. And then I'm ending strong with Declan Moody. You know, I sometimes waver between having your big heavies go and conclude it. At least with Declan, the right prestige of somebody you need to have in that very important make or break slot. Finally, we look at Team 10th Planet. Tim and I are in agreement. You do have to start with Gio Martinez. Gio's been to the dance. He knows what it's like. He has the endurance. And as Tim mentioned, incredibly hard to submit. That's an asset in this format. And then, Tim, you ignorant slut, you said you would possibly keep Ryan Aiken at the very end. No, I'm going 2nd because I want him to run the table because I need rest for the 2nd day if he can do it. Tall order, but he's a very powerful dude. Ryan Aiken as my 2, as my 3, PJ Barch. PJ, the standard, somebody who always shows up. He is going to be a critical asset for this team. 4th, we go Alan Sanchez, somebody who's won at the big experiences like EBI, and somebody who's been so consistent in his work and might sneak in a win when you don't expect it. finally anchored by Kyle Bame. I'm looking forward to seeing them get called out like the Royal Rumble, which is a format I've been calling for years. And finally, Craig, once again, stealing one of my great ideas, but you're welcome, Craig. We're now going to look at a couple different topics before we wrap up here, but we want to remind you, Craig Jones Invitational is coming up very, very soon. You don't want to go anywhere, so stay here. And if you like what we're doing, like, comment, and subscribe, because nobody else spent time giving you the updates. But Tim, I want to ask now, what are the problems that you foresee possibly happening? You mentioned something in the show notes that I think is a huge critical thing that we should consider. But what are major problems that you think internally the teams can face?
There's a couple, right? One is CJ has been around long enough that people have had some time to chew on the idea and think about it. In the beginning, it's like, hey, they're going to give $1 million away, lots of goodwill banked up from the jiu-jitsu community. Like, wow, you're giving us $1 million. That's a big number in our brain, right? That's the number, 1 million. And so I think there was a lot of goodwill. Now, coming around to the second season, I think that there is a risk of athlete criticism being at much higher levels than what they've been in the past of CJI and the format or the event or the timing that may not play out in their favor as well as it did last time. And I think that could affect the team. If you're on the team with a guy who's salty, and we've seen this at the PGF, who's salty about whatever's going down, it makes it a little trickier to work with to get this bag of money at the end. Now, fortunately, $1 million is a lot of money, and it, kind of can lighten your attitude up a bit. But I think that could be something that could be a problem. Also, gaming the system, Raf. Like, a lot of schools have pit walls now. They've been practicing, they're studying, they kind of know what's going on. They have a better understanding of the rules. We see it time and again. Athletes want to win. When you give them a format, they're going to figure out a way around that format. I don't know if they send it off to like the local jails. They're like, you guys got time, figure out how we could game this system. They get a little report back, but they always come up with something new. And then lastly, what I did put in the show notes is this: is anyone on Greg Sauter's team who doesn't have the last name of Corbe gonna actually listen to him? And how is that going to sit with him? Because Greg's not like the kind of guy that's just going to let things slide. He's going to say something. How's that going to work? Will that be a problem?
If I'm one of the other teams, I'm trying to get Tom DeBlas to go out there and have a debate with him to take him out as a coach. A lot of people aren't thinking about how to take out the coaches. Like, give John Danaher a photo and tell him to make an Instagram post. This is the one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's similar to what Tim was mentioning, which is sometimes one person in an event kind of complains. One thing that this format does do is it does make the teams very loud and vocal. Now, they have some great judges, but even though they run the gamut on different affiliations and experience levels, don't be surprised if you see the combined whining of a certain team try to influence calls, because they'll be very loud together. And there's one thing about competitors: they will always argue for their case. But if anybody here has been to a local competition and seen a huge name, fill it in. You probably got one or two you're thinking about right now. They will be the giantest of crybabies you have ever seen. Now, put money on the line. Don't be surprised if you see some people throwing a fit and trying to influence the judges because they've gotten away with it at BJJ before. Talking a little bit about the women's division. This is incredible that for the first time, a woman is going to take home $100,000 for just 2 matches. And I know you said a little bit earlier, you would love to see women get a more prominent spot and more women get on the card. But if I'm one of these 4,
Yeah.
I'm thinking 2 matches to $100K, sign me up. Nope, you don't want to be involved, other women. Actually, women are bad. They should not be on this. Like, you're 100% leading that charge. So, Tim, what do you think is going to take place for this? You put up some interesting questions about this division, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on what it looks like.
It's a good division, and it's interesting how it's balanced. It's got Fornerino, Helena Krevar, Anna Carolina, and Sarah Galval. Sarah and Helena are really the young guns in this bracket. Even though Fornerino and Anna Carolina, they're not like older, but they're older than like a teenager, right? Sarah Galval's literally kind of like jiu-jitsu royalty, came up. Obviously, she's the daughter of Andre Galval and his wife, Angelica, and they're both IBJJF world champions. Andre multiple times ADCC world champion, and Sarah's been on a good run. The question is this has got to be the biggest match of her life. Like she's basically barely an adult. She's about to make a run at $100,000. Like that's amazing, right? That's a lot of pressure. Can she stand up to the pressure? Krevar's looking for revenge, I think. Krevar got beat by Anna Carolina at ADCC, and Krevar's been on a run for 10 years. It seems like probably 5 or 6, but she's constantly getting better. So I think she has a real opportunity to get that revenge. And then you look at Fornerino, and if you look at like her run, I believe she comes out of Australia. She it was like a little hit or miss, like not super like, oh man, this is going to be the one. And then in 2024 ADCC, and she goes ham and has been going ham since. She's got wins over Jasmine Rocha, Bia Mosquita, who's the queen of jiu-jitsu, Rafael Guedes, Brianna St. Marie. So I think Fornerino, I think she's the favorite, Raf. I think she's the favorite coming into it. I think, is Sarah Galval going to be able to handle the pressure? Will Krevar get her revenge? And maybe Carolina's the one who just slides right through it unnoticed to the top. I'm not sure, but I'm stoked to see this division. I think they're going to be exciting matches.
Right now, we have been informed that, yes, initially there was 5,100 that was not quite the 7,000 seats they thought would be the break even. Now, Craig announced yesterday that, yes, they have passed the threshold for sales on merch and for the sales for the gate to merit this being free, which I think is gobbledygook for just saying we just wanted to increase sales. But what if they're in need? What if this is not a profitable event, as Mikey Musumeci somehow cares about?
Sure.
What I would ask you, Tim, is what are some things that we can tell the good folks over at CJI to increase their profit margins and make some additional money and maybe recruit some of those 12,000 people who are there to see the gi die a death?
It's a really good question. And at first I thought, oh, I got it. Commemorative Craig Jones boomerangs. And then I realized, no, because this jiu-jitsu crowd's going to get upset and they're going to throw them into the pit when it doesn't go their way. And then it'd be a big mess. So I thought, okay. Cheaper. Here's a cheaper alternative. Kind of cheeky, maybe a little bit risque. You give away commemorative little baggies of white talcum powder. But then I thought, no, somebody will snort that because they're an idiot. Then I realized, here's the way. It's cheap. You're going to raise money, and people are going to want to watch it, and people are going to want to go. You have a raffle on site. $50 in the raffle. Main event, we're going to call a raffle number. You're going to fight Craig Jones on TV, live, right now. Let's go. We don't know who that person's going to be, but you have a chance to fight Craig Jones. So you better get your ass in the arena. You better buy a raffle ticket. I think that's how they do it. I think maybe they would want to see that more than Chael. I could be wrong.
Said in the most Chael expression possible. I could be wrong. I'm
Hands
not,
off.
but I could be wrong. We're trying to get people to come from the very boring and stuffy IBJJF, which is always like, it's super expensive. It's $35 just to go. How about $10 off admission if you made the mistake of going to IBJJF? Like, show your proof of receipt that you went there and just say like, hey, we're trying to convert you. Just show this. You get $10 off. I think that's good. Increase the door-to-door sales of that. 2, you could steal from us. You could have people drive from one event to the other. Hire some drivers. Bring them over. Of course.
Right.
We've done that, and that's another thing you'd be stealing from me, which apparently is not an issue in our sport, but okay. Bingo. Not like I had an idea, but actual bingo. Have Gabby Garcia host a bingo at halftime. What you do is you have her call out the numbers. And she'd be like, yeah, okay. 31, B. Okay, bitch, you win. Okay, come down here, bitch, you win. Okay, bitch, you won. A popcorn bucket. Tim was on something when he said commemorative something. But how about a commemorative bucket that has a giant mouth open of a certain favorite Australian who's not afraid to do things for money?
I like it.
Somebody almost paid $80 for a Galactus popcorn bucket. Craig, missed opportunity. I know StreetX would do it in a heartbeat. And here's my last one. You know, when you go to WrestleMania or a major wrestling event, you can get an honorary chair that you take home. That's pretty cool. But what about an honorary cuck chair? For no reason. Just why not give out one of those and just brand it as a cuck chair? It doesn't mean that you have to use it for being a cuck, but you just brand it as this is a chair that you would assume cucks would use for what they do if somebody existed in our sport who did do such a thing. Branding. And brings it full circle from Craig Jones Invitational 1. We're going to close this with just making any kind of greater appeal to the people who are putting together this event. So, Tim, I look to you. Make your last pitch for something that they can improve, that they didn't do well, or that they could do better from Craig Jones 1 to Craig Jones event number 2.
You need your Miata moment. Maybe what you can do is invite Gordon and then give away his car, live auction it off in the parking lot, and put that live auction up on the screen, and then put Gordon's face in a little picture-in-picture box and see when he realizes that his vehicle is getting auctioned off in the front of the building. Something. You need something. You need something. That's my appeal to you, Craig. You got not very much time to figure it out. So let's get chopping, get your guys on it, wake up, get ready, because the people are coming. And if they're not pleased, then they're pissed.
First, t-shirt guns. More. You have StreetX merch. Shoot that shit at people in the audience. Because if you don't, missed opportunity. Who here doesn't love a t-shirt gun? Don't see them. They don't exist. That's why. T-shirt gun, number 1. Number 2, pump up the jam. Not metaphorically, the Technotronic theme song. Literally play that ad nauseum. I don't care how much the rights are. You've got the money because you couldn't pay us. So what I want you to do is get that fucking theme song for every person who comes out there. Treat this like the NBA event that we wish we could put on. Yeah, bring out Bugs Bunny. Bring out Lola Bunny. Bring out all the Looney Tunes because people love mascots. Oh, Raf, it won't work. Oh, no. People wouldn't like that. Bull fucking shit. Go to one NBA show that gets 16,000 people per event and tell me it won't work. We don't even have 7,000. Give the people what they want. Pump up the jam. With Space Jam fucking techno. Last one. Get your credential shit together. This shit's annoying. Literally, day one, we put it out there. We said we wanted to be there, and look where we are right now. We are not doing the pre-show at the event, and you could have had us. Now, granted, you said you had other thoughts and other plans. Very strange. I felt like somebody here made a compelling case for the need for a pre-show. I wonder who that was, but I'm glad you're doing one. I can just tell you, it didn't include a cuck chair. Anyway, we would love to cover your events, but we would love it if you could actually have a process that works. And yes, telling people that you're not going to have media credentialed and then putting up a post that says apply here. Interesting. It just tells us you're unorganized. We have never gotten a no. And in fact, we've had people ask, are you applying? Or are you going to be here? We would love to. but I would love for my boy Tim to be out there with me, and he's not. So just requires a little bit of organization, and we have receipts to show we definitely were trying. Tim, I thank you for previewing this event with me. I'm stoked that you're going to be at your house watching it, and we're going to do another preview show for tomorrow, right? And we will end up being the official, not official, pre-show for Craig Jones Invitational Day 2, correct?
Absolutely, man. It's going to be a great event, Raf. Stay tuned, watch it, love it, and talk your shit. Don't let Craig Jones stifle you. You say what you want to say. He's not your friend. He just wants your money. I do too. I want it, but I want a little bit. He wants all of it.
So thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our channel, specifically ours. The event is about to start right now. We hope you enjoy today's installment of the Craig Jones Invitational. No, it does not air on our channel, so you have to go find it on the Flow Grappling channel. But tomorrow, come back here, not there, for the official pre-show, unofficial, that you can watch with us, myself, Tim Freeman, on behalf of both of us. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.